What is up, everybody? I hope you are having a fantastic evening. The 49ers put belt to ass when it came to beating the Arizona Cardinals, but now they've got another big-time game against the Carolina Panthers of all teams. Monday Night Football in prime time. Looking very forward to it, but it seems like the must-win games are not going away. Panthers up next. Sunil and I are going to talk about that, plus more next. All right, welcome back to Last Second Sports, where we are giving you our take down to the last second, and it's Tuesday, which means I got my guy So Real Sunil in the building. What's up, Sunil?
Dude, I'm like slow in the Matrix right now. But
I meant to say slow real Sunil in the building. What's up, slow real?
Nah, but look, man, I had a moment I think this weekend or earlier, like yesterday, man, I found out I really realized, man, you made it. And the reason why I know is there's random dudes on Twitter that are making videos about tweets that you've made, bro. And I was just like, I'm like, my boy has made it. Like, yo, when randoms are making videos about your tweets, that's how you know you made an impact, my guy. And proud of you, bro.
I did not know videos were made. I did hear that I was quite the hubbub on Twitter. It's interesting. I remember when the Trent Williams thing popped off a couple years ago, and like it got like super big, and like Pat McAfee was talking about it. They even brought it up on Monday Night Football or Thursday Night Football or whatever it was. And I didn't even know that the tweet had gone viral until Vish was like, hey, man, you might want to check your tweet there. It's gone pretty viral. So I don't know what people are saying. All I know is I'm going to keep believing and saying what I say. A lot of people think that I do it for engagement or listen, I don't get paid to like piss people off. I'm just telling you how I feel in the moment. Either like it or you don't, but it does sound like a lot of people were very, very upset about some of my tweets. So have fun with it. I hope people are getting their likes, their engagements, their follows up at my expense. And it's all good, brother. It's all good.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was triggered, but you always triggered.
You're always triggered. Yeah. That's why we have this Tuesday show, is so that you can get triggered and then call me out. I love it.
For sure.
All right, man. So the 49ers absolutely whooped the Arizona Cardinals. The question you pose, and I want to ask for clarification. I think what you were trying to say here is, did the 49ers win because the 49ers are that good, or is it because the Cardinals are that bad? Or were you trying to say maybe both, that was the discrepancy of victory much higher because the 49ers are much better than what they were versus the Cardinals being worse, vice versa? What you want to just reiterate this one for me so I can get this one right?
I think it's pretty much what you said. It's kind of like that cliche question, like, did the 49ers win or did the Cardinals lose type of situation. So it's like, for me, obviously this is, Purdy comes back, the team wins by, an enormous amount. Defense is getting turnovers, Purdy's throwing touchdowns, no interceptions. Like, is this because the 49ers offense with Purdy back is really this good, or was this a circumstance of, they're going up against a team whose defense did look good earlier in the season, but has really, gotten worse and worse as the weeks have gone on? What could we take from this? Is this more about the 49ers or more about what the Cardinals are at this point, was really what that question is.
Okay. Well, then, the question. Give me the answer.
Yeah, man. I mean, what was interesting about this, Jesse? Like, obviously seeing the team look as good as they did, Purdy coming back, there's a lot of nerves, I think, for people, because, people like you and start these narratives like, oh, Mac Jones versus Brock Purdy. If Brock Purdy doesn't come back and win, they're stacking his deck. All of a sudden, Ricky Pearsall's healthy. All of a sudden, the offensive line, there's these conspiracy theories that just keep coming out of, last second sports. And, me as a fan, it's just like, I just want the team to look good. Obviously, they've invested in Brock Purdy. I want Brock Purdy to come out and look good. So, everything was great. Then I looked into numbers. I'm like, I'm going to prove this is all about Brock Purdy. Let me look at this Arizona defense. I know they've been good. I know they haven't given up that many points on average because they have a great defensive line and good. Buda Baker's a beast, and they upgraded their secondary. Then I looked at the numbers, and I was like, oh, yeah, they just do this. And so so for me, obviously, look, I'm not trying to take away from the 49ers because you still have to execute. It's not the Arizona Cardinals are not and whatever, right? They've won games. They've beat teams. They've competed. But, this is, I think the 49ers looked great with took the opportunities that they had. I just wonder if they're going to have as many opportunities against better defenses. Can they create those opportunities against better defenses? Obviously, we saw some sparks from the special teams, which aren't normal for the 49ers either. So there was a lot of things that went well. Obviously, in the interceptions, things of that nature. And what was interesting, Jesse, I'm a big Deommodore Lenoir fan. He's one of my favorite players on the team. Right before he got that interception, I was like, man, do they need to bench Demo or do they need to upgrade, CB1? Not bench him, but I was like, man, Demo is great as your second cornerback, as your slot cornerback, but as CB1, is he that guy? Because, it looked like they were having their way with him. And then literally the next play, he gets the interception. So I'm like, all right, maybe, that's God telling me, shut up because, Demo is that guy. But yeah, so I guess a long way saying, I'm hopeful, but I'm not sold necessarily just off of this game that everything is fixed with this offense. It might have been more about circumstances and, who they were playing more than who they are.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think for me, like when I look at this game and I look at this team, the one thing I do like about it is that the 49ers absolutely smashed them. The 49ers, regardless of who they've played this year, a lot of their games have been close, even against the bad teams. It seems like that's kind of who they've been. But literally from the opening kickoff, they dominated. 98-yard return, very next play, they score a touchdown. And it was just never really close after that. The 49ers defense, though, is what worries me. It's not the offense. I think this offense can keep humming, but the defense, man, and it's not the passing yards or the completions, the record that Jacoby Brissett set this weekend. It's not any of that. It's the fact that they can't get to the quarterback. The 49ers right now are on pace for 18 and a half sacks, which would be the lowest in franchise history. 18 and a half sacks this year. This is a team in the Cardinals that had been pressured like 47% of their dropbacks, and the 49ers could only muster 17% pressure rate on that many dropbacks. That's really the concern. And then even then, they're not great against the run either. They're kind of middle of the pack as far as yards per carry. We've seen the really good running backs absolutely gash them. I look at a team like, even Cleveland, it can get interesting, but like Ricky Dowdle coming to town, he's had a couple big games this year. I could see him going off against the 49ers. Same thing with Judkins. Then they got Jonathan Taylor. It's not getting any easier. So for me, that's my biggest concern. I do think that the offense played well. And there was a lot of encouraging things. Special teams, return game was absolutely phenomenal. Now, Piñeiro's going to be out for at least a game or two. So, can they continue to be successful in the kicking game? We will see about that. Defense, 3 turnovers. That was fantastic. As much as Jacoby Brissett may not be the best quarterback, but he has protected the football pretty well. So for the 49ers to force 3 turnovers, that was fantastic. Is that something they can keep up? Because even if they're not getting after the quarterbacks, Sunil, the way I see it is when you have a high-powered offense, the best thing you can pair with a high-powered offense is not a defense that's shutting everybody out. It's a defense that is very opportunistic and gives the offense more chances. So I look at it and say, if you can get a turnover, 2, maybe even 3 a game every once in a while, give this offense more chances to score. That's exactly what they need to win. Continue to put points on the board, be up in the 30s week in and week out. It's not going to be easy, but I do think that's the recipe for success. And so for me, when I look at this game, is it something we should be overly impressed about? No, not necessarily, but they did what they needed to do. They won in all 3 phases. And they should at least be, happy with this win. And then going forward, now we're looking at a Panthers team that I don't think is great either. They've been very iffy on the road, but either way, man, this is a game that if the 49ers lose, all of a sudden they don't have a tiebreaker against the Panthers. They're fighting for that last playoff spot. This is a big, big game coming up. It is. So that's the way that I see it.
Yeah, and we mentioned it last week, like this team to get into the playoffs with how competitive the NFC is, they have to win the games that they're favored in. Like they have to win the games they're supposed to win. They did it against the Cardinals. That's a team that they should beat. They did it in flying colors. I think the Panthers are actually better than the Cardinals, right? They're a team that's playing for something. I don't know what the quarterback situation is there, if he's all the way healthy, if he's starting or not. Obviously, you mentioned Rico Dowdle. They have, a pretty good run game there. But the 49ers are going to get that extra day of rest, which I think is going to be helpful. Obviously, Brock Purdy, I think, looked good. I think his connection with Kittle, his connection with Jennings, that's one thing, when, people say, okay, what's the difference between Brock Purdy and Mac Jones? Maybe Mac Jones, if he had as much time in this offense as Brock Purdy did, that he would have that same type of relationship. But it does seem that connection with Kittle, that connection with Jennings is the chemistry is there more with Brock Purdy, as even Jennings had a good game. And obviously CMC is CMC, right? Brock Purdy knows exactly how to get him the ball, when to get him the ball, and CMC is gonna produce. So yeah, I think the offense is good. Unfortunately, this defense is predicated on a strong defensive line, right? It makes the cornerbacks better. It makes the safeties better. And then you had, all pro Fred in the middle, kind of like quarterbacking that whole defense. Without the defensive line being able to create that pressure, without Fred Warner there to, make up on some of the mistakes that sometimes happen, there's kind of a lot of opportunities to be exposed, and the 49ers do get exposed. I think what's more important, Jesse, is this team got out to a lead, and this team is competitive and good when they're out to a lead. When they're playing, catch up, when they're playing from behind, that's where this team tends to struggle. And especially with the defense being as weak as they are, they can't put the team in that type of situation. So it was great for them to get out to a fast start with the kick return right into a touchdown. Hopefully they could keep that up with first quarter points. And really, I think that's the way that they're going to be able to, sustain success.
Well, that does beg the question, and you kind of rolled into it, is can this offense do enough to cover up for those defensive inefficiencies? I mean, this is a team that George Kittle himself said that they're going to have to rely on the offense. He believes they can put up a lot of points when Brock Purdy's back. That proved to be the case week 1. I mean, although I will say they had a lot of short fields. I don't know that you're going to get that week in and week out, but can this offense cover up some of those defensive inefficiencies? Because I don't think those inefficiencies are going away. I really don't. I don't know that when they play those complete teams that they can stop the run or the pass on a regular basis. I don't believe they can get after the quarterback. They haven't forced a lot of turnovers outside of this last game. So, that's going to continue to be a glaring weakness, especially if they play complete teams or really good quarterbacks. So they might have to get into some of these shootouts and win purely on offense. Do you think that that's something they can do?
I mean, I think I'm more confident now than I was before. I think with, I think the ability, the way Purdy looked, The one thing about Arizona's defense is, for what it's worth, they have some really good defensive line guys, right? They have some guys that could get pressure on the quarterback, and they did wreak a little bit of havoc. Obviously, there's on Twitter, it's going off that one play where potentially could have been a touchdown to Ricky Pearsall, but the offensive line wasn't able to keep. I forget who was it. If it was Sweat or someone else out of the backfield that really caused Purdy to not be able to make that throw. But I do think that there's more openings. I do think that there's a little bit more confidence in the offense when Purdy's back there. I know on Twitter, I put it out there. I don't know if you got to see it because I know you mute your replies because you asked the question, what can Mac Jones do better than Brock Purdy? And for me, I think it's the intangibles. I think that guys like Kittle, Jennings, CMC, I do think that they're more confident when Brock Purdy's there than Mac Jones. And that could just potentially be because of, the years that they've been in the trenches with Brock Purdy. You build that confidence, you build that trust. It might not just be there off just half a season with Mac Jones, but that is something that's important. I think that you do see a little bit more of a pep in your step with Purdy. I do think Jennings feels more comfortable and he plays better with Purdy at quarterback. So I think because of that, the offense is going to look better. And whether we think it or not, is going to be really easy to see, Jesse, because that's the only way they're going to be able to win games, right? They're not going to be able to win games scoring 10 points, 12 points, 15 points, right? They're going to have to be able to score high 20s, 30s to be able to win these games because unfortunately the defense just doesn't have the horses right now to be able to compete.
Yeah, I think the question that I posed was, what did Brock do in this game that Mac couldn't? And you're looking at it from an intangible standpoint. And I do think there is something to that for sure. I definitely think that there is a chemistry, a rapport that has certainly been built that Mac just hasn't had time to build. I mean, heck, he hasn't even played with Kittle but 2 games or whatever this year. You know what I mean? Because Kittle missed a lot of time. So it is really hard to build that rapport for sure. And I think that's a very good point by you, but you're right. No, I didn't look at the replies. I just tweeted it out and threw it out there. And I guess that's what got people fired up. So good.
That sure did.
But yeah, I do. Listen, this team is going to have to win offensively. It's interesting because I feel like I've been saying this for 3 years. Like, this is the year they got to be an offensive team, and the defenses continue to play pretty well. Last year, not so much. This year, they started out great, and then some of the injuries came through. But ultimately, they are going to have to win offensively. I can't shake the Cincinnati Bengals from my mind because the Bengals have been doing this same thing for a few years now where the defense is atrocious. The offense is like record-setting good in some cases, and they just can't win enough games to get into the playoffs. Now, luckily for the 49ers, we're at a point in the season where they just got to go 3-3, man. They got to go 3-3. They got an easy schedule. I believe that they can do that. So I think this offense can be enough to at least get to those 3 more wins and get into the playoffs. And then once you're there, anything can happen. Anything can happen. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, I think that they're going to have to go more than 3-3, to be honest. But yeah,
hot take.
I don't
okay.
think,
all right. You think they need 11 wins, huh?
Yeah, I don't think 10 wins does.
Okay. 10 wins, but they beat the Panthers and the Bears. Then it's enough because you've knocked both those teams off the list, I think.
Potentially, but what if the Bears win the division?
No.
They're in first place in the division right now.
I know, but they got a tough schedule, dude. They got to play the Packers. They got to play the Lions. I guess that's a possibility. That's fair. That's totally fair.
That's what I'm saying.
I guess the Lions and the Packers could say, okay, yeah.
Exactly.
There's a path. Exactly. There's a path. I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I digress. All right. Listen, let's. Oh, whoa. I got to re-add you here because you left. I forgot. You left on me, so I got to re-add you. So let's talk about our sponsor tonight, Sleeper. Get a 100% deposit match of up to $100 using promo code LSS. And you can also get a free $20 play. You don't even have to make a deposit if you use promo code LSS. Sleeper is the fastest fantasy football app, fastest growing fantasy football app out there. I know Sunil and I use it. Sunil, you want to talk about our results this week?
I don't know. How did we do?
I don't know. I'm not. I'm talking about our fantasy football results. Don't try to skirt this.
Oh, okay. Look, all right. So Jesse,
hold on. Let me set the stage. Let me set the stage. First of all, about 3 weeks ago, I get a text from Sunil. Hey man, you gonna pay attention to your fantasy team this year? You gonna win a game? Here we are, 3 weeks later. I'm on a 3-game winning streak, including beating Sunil. Huh?
Look at the type of friend I am. He gets a text message. He starts paying attention to his team, and then all of a sudden he starts winning. And yeah, he got a win on me. My team is trash. I am like the worst manager ever this season in my fantasy team. But yeah, man, all praise to you, and it's fun. Sleeper is a fun app.
Say it is. I will say I'm not going to win another game this year. It's a 2-quarterback league. I already had Burrow out. Burrow's been out forever. Penix now out. So there's 2 of my 3 quarterbacks gone. The only other quarterback I have is Bryce Young. So I'm pretty much toast, but I will take the win head-to-head against you and bragging rights for the whole offseason. And remember, it's a dynasty league. Much like the 49ers, I'm building for the future. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where it's at. Except for, unlike the 49ers, I'm not going to make the playoffs. So, there is that. Okay, let's make some picks for this week. First of all, we're going to stick to football and Thursday Night Football. However, Pascal Siakam only needs a single stat in order for us to win. So we're going to take that freebie. Texans defense and NRG Stadium in particular has been a house of horrors for Josh Allen. I love Josh Allen. You know that. I'm going to take the less on passing touchdowns, though. I don't think he throws for more than one. He might rush for a couple, but I'm going to take the less. I'm going to fade Josh Allen right here on live YouTube. So that's my pick I'm going to make. What do you see here that you're looking at that you like?
Yeah, I would have to do what's that for Dalton Schultz? Was it 39.5? I gotta go more on that one.
Okay, I like it. I like it.
That's especially if I think CJ is back, and I think that's one of his reliable.
No, CJ's not back. Still Davis Mills. Yeah, he's out. He's out. He can't pass concussion protocol in time on Thursday Night Football. So,
let's just stick with it.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to go on the other side of things. Jalen Petry's out for the Texans. He's their tight end shutdown guy. So I'm going to go Dawson Knox more on the receiving yards.
What about
James Cook? They've got at we can't do it though. It's a promo, and we already took our freebie, our free spot. I'm going to go one more. I'm going to fade Keon Coleman. He got benched last week, didn't even play. That was weird. So if he does play against a great secondary, I'm just going to say no. So we're going to view that entry. We're going to take our 8 times. We're going to do 10 on it for 82.90, and that's the picks. So listen, you can either tail us or you can fade us, but either way, use promo code LSS. Link is pinned to the top of the description. Let's get back to the show. All right. We've been talking about making the playoffs. It sounds like you think they need 11 wins to get there. I think 10 wins makes it. Either way, we've both kind of put a cap on this saying, hey, expectation is they got to make the playoffs. After watching what they did to the Cardinals, do you believe that it's a more of a realistic goal than it was before to win a playoff game? Not just make it to the playoffs, but win at least one playoff game.
Yeah, this one's tough, man, because I think going into this season, you were thinking, and I was thinking anything less than Super Bowl is a disappointing season just because of how what the roster looked like, what how long Shanahan and Lynch have had at the helm. They really had to just cash out on and being actually winning one. Then all the injuries happen, but they're still looking good, right? So, or they're still, putting themselves in a situation, 7 wins, and if the playoffs started today, they're in the playoffs. I don't know if your standards could drop that much, though. Can you go from expecting a Super Bowl to just making the playoffs is good enough? I don't understand. I guess in my mind, I'm struggling with what does that mean? Like, what are you gaining as a team for that? So for me, I do think that the goal needs to be, you got to win a playoff game, because I think just making the playoffs, at that point, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, because you're doing enough just to not get a good draft pick, right? So it's like, at this point, I think that, yeah, you gotta win a playoff game, and also it looks like the team that they're gonna have to play in the playoffs is probably a division rival, right? It looks like it's probably going to be the Rams or the Seahawks. So I think that, yeah, winning a playoff game should be the minimum, because we're already dropping it from needing to make the Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I want to answer this real quick. One of them, you got to remember, one of them was a free space, so it was technically 4 picks, just to throw it out there. But yeah, so listen, to me, I think this is simple, and I'm going to stick with what I said a couple weeks ago. You make the playoffs. With the way that the season has gone, you've met expectations. You win a playoff game, I think you've exceeded them. And if you miss the playoffs, especially at this point when I believe you're only 3 games short, you just need to go 500 down the stretch, I think we might need to consider replacing you. Like, it's that simple for me. So you make the playoffs, we're good. You win a game, I think that's overachieving with this roster the way it's set. And if you don't make the playoffs, man, it might be time to go. That's the way that I see it.
I guess for me, Jesse, it's like, what's the value of making the playoffs if you're not gonna make a run? Like, it actually sets your team back, I think. I mean, you never want to tank or you never want to lose, but it's just like, if you're gonna make the playoffs, it can't just be, hey, you met expectations, you made the playoffs. If you're good enough to make the playoffs, you should be good. This team should be good enough to win a playoff game as well, just with the pedigree, the coaching staff, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if you could be satisfied with just making the playoffs, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that should be the team's goal. I think the team's goal should be more than that. And I don't think the leaders will allow that to be the team goal. But I think the value is, you got to remember, this roster had a 35% roster turnover from last year to this year. This is not the same teams that were making those deep runs. They have some players, certainly, some of the veterans, and those guys, might not be here much longer. So when you look at like the rookies and some of the guys that they signed this offseason, these guys don't know what winning football looks like. So I think making the playoffs brings a lot of value for those types of players. They need to understand, hey, this is what the expectation is around here. And then they get to play in a playoff game and that atmosphere. I think that's a big deal. So I definitely think there's some value. Now, obviously, I see what you're saying. Like, listen, you could have had a higher draft pick, and who cares? You lost in the first round. I think from a fan perspective, there's not a lot of value. But I think when I look at this team, a young team, you got to remember, even last year's draft picks, Sunil, not even the 35% this year that's new, but last year's draft picks, they don't know what making the playoffs is like. They didn't make it last year. So I think there is some value in making the playoffs, even if they were to lose, personally.
Yeah, I mean, there's value. I guess you're creating a pedigree. For me, I just think making the playoffs isn't enough. You got to make the playoffs and win a game. I think that's the real value versus, I just don't want to keep, and it's going to happen regardless, right? If we were healthy, we would be able to do this and do that. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, we got to break that cycle of, if we were this, then this would happen. Like, ultimately, there's a lot of people that are walking around with championships that aren't saying those same things, right? So
that's fair. That's totally fair. Deshaun says, come on, guys, being too nice. Arizona's not a good team. If this was the Cowboys, we would be saying, stop it. It's a bad team. It's fair. I mean, I think we're saying that with the Cowboys beating the Raiders last night. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. The Cardinals are not a good team. I don't think it's something we should be victory lapping. I just think we're trying to find trends at this point. And it's hard, man. It's still, I don't know if I've ever seen a team play 11 games and not know how good they are. Like, have you? Right. Seriously, like, that's the way I feel about the 49ers. I don't know how good they are. I really don't. Like, we just asked the expectation question or the goal question, and we kind of, I know I turned it more into expectation, but I don't know what to expect from this team, Sunil. I really genuinely don't, because every single week it's like, oh, well, they're not good. Oh, no, they are good. Oh, they're not good. They are good.
Right.
I genuinely don't know how the 49ers stack up 11 weeks into the season. And a lot of that is because the NFL is weird too. It's not just the 49ers.
Yeah, and I mean, to be, any other 7-4 team, you think you're in a really good spot. You're obviously, I wouldn't say a juggernaut, but you're one of the better teams in the league at 7 wins. But the confidence level, I think, for the average 49er fan, you're just like we said, and you don't know how good is this team, because they can look really, really good, and there's times where they don't look good at all. So it's like hard to just bet your bottom dollar that like this team is going to win, which I think in previous years we had that confidence.
I know. I agree. Rylan says, Jesse, continue to speak your mind and keep it real. Purdy didn't do anything special. He was solid, but he didn't do anything Mac couldn't have done. Media is blowing up Purdy. Let's pump the brakes. Oh, you don't have to worry about me speaking my mind, brother. That's not ever going to stop. There is not a single soul out there that's going to stop me from saying what I believe about a football take. I'm sorry. I don't take it that seriously. And my opinion is my opinion. So there we go.
Christopher Royale just put up a tweet that I think is a comment that I think sums it up really, really well.
I'll tell you what, they for sure are annoying, good enough to be beat any team and bad enough to lose to any team. Also, I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't know who this team is. It's like, would I be shocked if they lost to the Panthers this week? No. But I also expect them to beat the Panthers, right? Like, I do expect them to win, but I wouldn't be shocked if they lost to the Panthers, not by any means. Absolutely not. I wouldn't be shocked if they lost to the Browns in 2 weeks. I'm already looking at that weather forecast. First of all, Browns defense is really good. Kyle Shanahan versus Schwartz is always a tough battle. In fact, Schwartz has won 9 out of those 10 games or whatever. The weather right now is looks like it's going to be raining and in the 40s. And then it's your 13th week in a row playing football before a bye week. If they lost to the Browns, would I be shocked? No. Now, again, I expect them to beat the Browns, but I don't know. I don't know what this team is. I don't know that I'm going to fully know until maybe week 13, 14, something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, if ever, right? It might just be week to week. We don't know what team's going to show up type of situation.
Yeah, for sure. And, the other part of this is like, Brandon Ayuk could come back. That could change things. How can Purdy stay healthy? Can CMC and Kittle stay healthy? A lot of it really does come down to the health. It's like every single week you're going, please, God, just let all the big name players stay healthy, at least at the very least. And if there is an injury, let it be week to week.
This week, like that's a big loss. I know that's a big loss. Like he's made us forget what kicking situation was before him. So who knows what it's going to be like after him.
Spidey G says, if we were somehow fully healthy this season, what would our record be through 11 games? And what would our Super Bowl odds be? Well, the Super Bowl odds would be significantly higher. I can say that. I think they would have one more win. I don't think that it would be that much different, honestly. I think they've beaten some teams that they probably shouldn't, won some games that they probably shouldn't with the roster as it is. And so I'll give them maybe one more win along the way, but I don't think it would be much different.
I think they'd be the 1 seed right now. I think they'd be dominant, maybe 1 or 2 losses max. They're saying if everybody was healthy, Bosa's there, Warner's there, Salah's coaching up all these guys, Mikael Williams is there. All I don't know. I think that, if Mustafa was healthy right from the jump, all these things, I mean, and Purdy is there, I think this team, I think with this record, with the way they've been playing and the way Kyle Shanahan's coaching, I think this would be, 9-2.
I forgot. Oh, Purdy's there, not Mac. Okay, yeah, you're right. I'm totally changing my mind. They might be undefeated. I'm just joking. It's not that big of a difference to me. I'll give them one more win, but their Super Bowl odds would be significantly higher, and I would be talking about them right now like they could go to or even win a Super Bowl. I genuinely would. And that's not the way I was talking about them coming into the season. So my opinion of them would change if they were fully healthy for sure. It's a big difference. All right. Last week, the 49ers were down 2 games in the loss column to both the Rams and the Seahawks. I still think the Rams are probably going to win this division. I was looking at their schedule. There doesn't seem to be a lot of losses on there, like maybe 2 more. The 49ers are at least going to lose, 1 to 2 more. So the division may be out of question. But is it out of question that they could catch the Seahawks? I mean, we've watched the Seahawks. They've looked really, really good. But if you look at the teams that they've beaten, they haven't really beat up on a murderer's row of teams. They finally face a really good Rams team, a Rams team that Mac Jones, by the way, put up nearly 700 yards of passing offense, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception in 2 games, looked phenomenal with nearly no weapons around him. And Sammy Dimes goes out there and drops 4 picks, and they lose to the Rams. Can the 49ers catch the Seahawks and at least finish second this division, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, they still have a game against them. With their one game behind, I think that they're absolutely like the Seahawks aren't super dominant. I mean, I think that the Rams still, like, people forget that Indy gave that game up, right? It was like they threw away a touchdown from fumbling it and they were dominating that game as well. And the Rams, with 4 interceptions, didn't blow out the Seahawks either, right? So I think like there's potential where the Rams could have hiccups on the way as well. So it's not. I'm with you. I think even from the jump, we thought that the Rams were going to win this division from day one. But I think it's absolutely on the board that the 49ers can finish second in this division against the Seahawks. I don't necessarily. I think you're higher on the Seahawks than I am. Obviously, I think you believe a lot in that defense. But, the offense...
I don't believe in Sammy Dimes. I do not.
Yeah, I mean, the offense is really just, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't think their running game is feared by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, I mean, I think the 49ers could absolutely contend with them. I think the 49ers have can absolutely finish second.
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't think last week I believed that, I mean, I was looking at Seattle as not like a juggernaut, because I don't believe that. I don't think any team with Sam Darnold at quarterback's a juggernaut. But the run game was getting going. The defense is still playing lights out. Okay, here's a question, actually. I do.
Can I call you out real quick, though, before you ask this question?
Ahead.
Because the Seahawks smashed the Arizona Cardinals. And you went all over Twitter saying this isn't the same Seahawks that the 49ers played before.
I don't think it is. It's still not. It's still not.
However, the 49ers just went out and smashed those same Cardinals.
Mm-hmm. And
I don't think you're having the same, like, the 49ers are this, the 49ers are that, right? So could it be? And I know you're roundtable guys, so you probably know more about the NFC and probably pay attention a lot more than I do. Could it be that you just follow the 49ers more, so you actually know their weaknesses, you actually know their, what's going on week to week, things like that, and it's just game day on the Seahawks, you're seeing kind of what is and what isn't?
So I know the tweet came out during the Arizona Cardinals game because I just happened to be watching it on Quadbox, but the tweet was less about the Arizona Cardinals game and just more about what the Seahawks had been for the last 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row. Remember, they smacked the Jaguars too, a Jaguars team that beat the 49ers with Brock Purdy, the great Brock Purdy. And so Seattle is a different team. I don't think they're an impossible team to beat. I just know that I had questions already going into that game. I was like, hold on, you got a new quarterback, you got a new receiving core, you got a new offensive line, you got a new offensive coordinator. I don't know that their offense is going to be humming at all week 1, and they weren't. Now, maybe that's credit to the 49ers defense. Again, that was a healthy defense that they no longer are. Or maybe that was the Seahawks needing to get up to speed. But either way, watching the Seahawks offense kind of hum week in and week out since then, the defense even got better. Nick Eamon-Warry is a big difference maker on that defense. Let's not forget that he got hurt in that game. I don't think it's the same Seahawks team. I think it's a much better Seahawks team. But that doesn't mean that the 49ers can't be better too, by the way. It was week 1 for the 49ers as well. Now, I know that health-wise, maybe not so much, but as the season goes along, you kind of get into more of a rhythm, what have you. So we'll see how it plays out. I don't think the Seahawks are world beaters by any means, but I do think they are still a quality team. It's just I can't get over Sam Darnold, man. I can't do it. I can't do it. So
let's give the 49er fans what they want, Jesse. Would you rather have Sam Darnold as your starting quarterback or Brock Purdy?
Fuck no. Sam Darnold, absolutely not. No. No. Listen, the hate's gone too far. I'm not. Listen, I get a lot of people think that I'm, whatever. No, absolutely. Give me Brock Purdy every day of the week and twice on Sundays. This is not even
Clip it
for me.
Clip it, send it out.
You don't listen. You don't even have to clip it. I've said it on Twitter a million times over. Give me Brock Purdy every day of the week. No, and I would have said that before last week's games. I've never believed in Sam. I've never believed in Sam Darnold. Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, I could attest. You are out on Sam Darnold. You've always been out on Sam Darnold. So this is very consistent for you.
Yeah, it's funny because even though that I'm quote unquote low on Brock Purdy, I still say he's like a top 15 quarterback. Like at his worst, I'm calling him a top 15 quarterback. At his best, I say he's borderline top 10. It's just how I talk about him that people don't like. I
think it's really the contract, Jesse. If they didn't sign him to this big contract, I don't think he'd be as down on him.
Yeah, and it's not even, it's not even that I'm quote unquote down on Purdy. It's more just people that try to make him out to be this elite franchise caliber quarterback. That's really what those are the people I'm refuting. When we just talk about Brock Purdy and we want to talk about him in a vacuum, I don't know. I think I'm very honest on Brock Purdy. And, Brock Purdy was a guy that I liked coming out of the draft. I said it was a 3rd round prospect. There's videos on this channel of me celebrating drafting him. It's not Brock Purdy. It's just, I give my opinion. People don't like it. And then, they talk a little trash and I maybe go a little overboard. I have a little fun with it. But, Brock Purdy's a good player. He is a good player. And I have zero trust in Sam Darnold, zero trust in Sam Darnold. So, no, definitely not. I'm not, I would not take Sam Darnold over Brock Purdy ever. No danger of that happening. Sports Fan Kid 4K says, Jesse, what if Purdy was born in 1994 instead of 1999 and the Niners took him in the 2017 draft and he was our starting quarterback since 2017? How does NFL history change? Are you saying maybe do they win a Super Bowl then? I still don't think they have any rings. So I don't know that it changes.
Yeah, I think that'd still be tough because you took a quarterback in 2017, which was that the same year? Is that the
Mahomes?
Yeah, that's the Mahomes year, the Deshaun Watson year. They're still gonna be you took the wrong guy, right? So
yeah,
I think it's even more blatant, right? But who knows, right? The 49ers are able to get through the Trey Lance situation, so they maybe could have got through that situation as well.
Joseph says I was crossing my fingers out of frame.
That was a great comment.
How'd you know, Joseph? All right, listen, speaking of Roundtable, I got to get over to that other show. I got some ish to be talking because, man, they were trying to put the screws to me, tighten the screws down on me. Just admit Sam Darnold's a good quarterback. I said, I'm not going to admit it. And now I get to dance on the graves of Seahawks fans. I love nothing more than to do such. So come over to the Roundtable. Support your 49ers. Sunil, thank you as always for joining me on Tuesdays. Everybody in the chat, much love. I'll be back on Thursday for Behind Enemy Lines. Stay blessed. We'll talk soon. Peace.